Arantxa King, earlier this year you was elected as the chairwoman for the NACAC Athletes Commission. Was that something you were striving to do, or was it just something out of the blue?
It was a little bit both. I was very excited to be nominated to be part of the Athletes Council. For what, I wanted to put my name out there. As far as being elected chair, that kind of happened in real time. We were discussing who would want to be chair and put their name forward, and we were only early into the meetings, but I had a sense that this is something that I could do. I felt prepared enough and I had a great idea of what I thought a good organization would look like, having experience running them in law school and just throughout track. So I kind of sensed the pulse of the room and asked some questions, and the next thing I know, everyone just nominated me, and I gladfully accepted. So it was a little bit of both.
You will work closely with IAAF Chairman Mr. Gomez, is it? Yeah, Mr.
Yes.
Gomez. What, if any, discussions have you had with him regarding your new role?
Yeah, so as far as the Athletes Commission, we've been meeting almost monthly through video online, and I had a chance to meet with the council back in September to go over some of what goals we strive for as the Athletes Commission, also not only to be a source of in which they can consult us with as far as, when it comes to meets or policies or regulations, but we also want to be an entity that we can put forth our own initiatives and have a voice that isn't just retroactive. And I think one of the key initiatives really needs to be is that every federation, track and field federation, needs to have a council of some sort for their own team, so that we can really reach out to who is the athlete point that we could discuss any issues with someone in like Antigua or St. Lucia. So that's like the number one priority, is making sure that we have a vessel in which we can really interact with athletes from different islands. Because without it, you can continue on as what we believe are issues, what we believe are important, but at the end of the day, we really need to hear the voice of the current athletes that are competing within our region.
What are some of the hot subjects discussed amongst the athletes?
Yeah, so right when I was elected, and actually when we had our first meeting, the hot topic was the world ranking issue. The IAAF issued this world ranking scheme that issued points to certain meets, and then also with performances. And it was kind of done in a rash manner, and a lot of people just didn't realize. They announced it, and most importantly, that these rankings you would take in consideration these rankings for world championships and perhaps the Olympics. So a lot of people just didn't understand what was happening, and it threw many athletes and coaches off guard. And I actually took the time to really read through what this meant, what were the calculations, and in addition to the USA athlete chair who I work closely with, and we just realized that this is far beyond anything that should be enacted at this point in time, because there were so many questions, so many flaws. Number one being as representatives of the NACAC region, it's important for us to grow our region. We have some of the strongest and most popular and best athletes in the world in our region, track and field athletes. So for this world ranking to associate stronger points to meets that were predominantly in Europe, definitely impinged on our athletes' ability to really gain points and gain reputation and be able to qualify for certain meets, even though potentially there's stronger meets in the US or in the Caribbean. So it was issues like that, and actually after our meeting in September, the NACAC Athletes Council agreed, and we issued a statement, a joint statement, Athlete Commission and Council together, and I was really proud of that, and the Athletes Council was really excited, and I believe maybe a month and a half later, the IAAF later pushed back the world ranking to, I think, another year or two as they flesh out all these problems. So that was an initial win for us, and it came really early on. So we were really excited that at least we put our voices out there and we were heard.
As a two-time Olympian long jumper,
yeah.
What do you miss about the sport? Say it, training.
Not so much training. I On the social aspect, I do miss like some of my competitors and friends. When you're not training and competing, you don't really get to see them really at all. But on the competition side, I miss the freedom of being an athlete. And that freedom comes in really is just training and waking up every day hoping to be better. That kind of transformative feeling that what I put in work today at practice will help me tomorrow. And I also miss the long jump flying in the air. When it was done well, that effortless feeling and adrenaline, you can't really get that just going to the gym every day or trying to run. So I do miss like that really sense of like being in touch with my body and excitement as I prepared for meets.
What would you say would be your fondest memory of competing?
Oh, fondest memory. There's so many.
I'll name a few.
Okay, well, the highlight ones were, my World Youth gold medal, because that was, not only was it a world medal that I won, but it was like the first time that I really like understood what this international track world was. And it was so young, and it just launched my career from there. So obviously, that helped me get into college and everything. NCAAs coming in second place, that was another high note for me, coming second place. And obviously the Olympics, both Beijing and London, for different reasons. Beijing, I was a little bit younger. It was more so there for the experience and getting my feet wet. And whereas London, I was really focused and determined, and I was ready to be in there with the top women in the world, and ended up pretty much there, especially given all the positive drug tests that have come out lately. So yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. with the situation with WADA, and you represent athletes. Obviously, it's a bit of a two-way street here when you're presented with a question about it, because you do represent athletes.
Yes.
But obviously, it's been a problem in sports, and we don't see it changing anytime soon.
Yeah.
They're trying to do it, but do you think if people were cheating when you were competing, do you feel as if you were cheated?
Absolutely.
As an athlete.
Yeah. I think, a lot of people, this is a sensitive topic because people have personal experience of being deprived of championships, medal, and really successes that they cannot go back in time and regain. So I understand that there are a lot of different opinions. My personal belief is that, I do feel cheated of experiences. And I think the London Olympic final is a perfect example where I was tied for the last spot in the final. They did a count back, lost by like a toenail. And then that night I was sitting in the village, sad, depressed that like my dreams had ended. And this girl who I tied with did not even show up to the final because she had already had a positive drug test. It's unclear, they said it happened that night, but I think realistically they probably knew. Someone knew about this. So she didn't show up, essentially taking my my final spot. So that was really hard for me to be sitting at home in the village and watching a final that in all other scenarios I should have been in. And then later, now we're 2018, and I find out that I'm actually an 8th place finalist because 4 other girls have been tested positive since then, and most recently, end of November. So yeah, it's definitely hard. I think for me, it's that one girl who took the place in real time is the deepest cut. The other people, of course, a couple of years, I've kind of moved on a bit, but it's a tough issue, and unfortunately, there are a lot of clean athletes, and I would like to believe way more majority clean athletes are doing the right thing, and a small percentage of people who are going to the extremes to cheat. And we really need to look forward into what does that mean? How do we, I wouldn't say compensate, but how do we take care of the people who have integrity in the sport, and also not crush upon their own rights, because the regulations can sometimes be so extreme that you can end up harming some of the people who are clean, but they're just trying to show up to practice, but they're getting drug tested every 10 minutes. So it is a tough issue, and I do hope that I can be a part of that change, or at least a voice.
Anyone looking to, any youngster right now considering a professional career in sports? Now, you've been through, you didn't start out in track and field, did you?
No.
So what advice would you have to any youngster thinking about a professional career in sports?
Yeah. If you're at an early age, it is good to try out several sports for one. And I think that was a benefit for me. Like, I was soccer, football player early on. And because you really can learn so many things from different sports. Whether it's actually physical skills, eye-hand coordination, or how you're using your body, your legs. But definitely later down the line, it is important to really narrow your interests down to one. And I think at the end of the day, it's just, I wouldn't even say hard work, but it is an immense amount of dedication. Like, that is it. You have to be the type of person who wants to get better and be the best regardless of anything around you. Regardless of your coach, regardless of your environment, what people say, what you have, resources you don't have, because a person who is that dedicated will always try to make it work. And I think if you can just really focus on yourself and your goals and your dreams, then, the possibilities are endless, truly. And when you're dedicated, you're disciplined, and like everything really falls in line when you have a true commitment to your craft. And I think what I find in great athletes is that they're not just like focused in their craft and then a mess elsewhere. I mean, sometimes it does happen, but everything in your life should also be aligned, because when you're so disciplined in one area, and it goes, even in college, like, you should also be, when you're striving for greatness, not let other areas, I guess, falter. And I really think that is the foundation. And finding people who are there to support you, who are really going to push you further, who are going to make you hurt and have pain, but to do it to be great. So definitely having a great team around you is key.
Thank you very much for your time. Season's greetings and Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too. Appreciate it. Audio Jungle.